This is my review for The Sims 4 Royalty and Legacy, and thanks to the EA Creator Network for providing me early access to The Sims 4 Royalty and Legacy. I'm not being paid or anything, I was just given this pack early to play. I also want to state before going into the rest of this video that I do not agree or support the pending buyout of EA. But at this point, I'm just trying to enjoy my favorite game before the new ownership makes a bunch of changes. I also want to say that if you do plan on buying this pack or any Sims 4 packs from the EA app, please make sure you use a EA creator code. You can use mine, it's DizzyMissLizzy, or any other creator code that you might have for the other favorite creators. Using these codes supports the creator by giving them a 5 to 7% commission on your purchase, as well as from now until February 17th, you get a 5% discount. So you're supporting your favorite creator, getting a discount, and taking more money away from EA. This is my first time reviewing a pack like this. So I wrote down a lot of my thoughts, and if you see me looking down, I'm just referring to my notes. I have a whole Google Doc of everything that I want to say, so I will be referencing that a lot. So just know that I am just looking at my script that I wrote for this. I'm going to break this review down into a few different parts: the noble career, the dynasty system, the scandal system, the new skills, the build, buy, and cast, and lastly, what value this pack brings to overall gameplay. Let's start with the noble career. I spent a lot of time playing through this career for a full playthrough, which I will be posting tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss that video. It is almost 2 hours long of pure gameplay through this entire pack. Personally, I did really enjoy playing through the noble career. I thought it was fun. However, after the first few hours of it, it felt very repetitive. This career differs from other careers in other packs with the fact that you don't go a certain time of day into a rabbit hole to go to work or even go to a different location for a active career. For this career, you have a set time of having tasks, which is 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. And within that time, you're given different tasks to complete as well as promotion tasks to complete that are similar to other careers. These tasks include things like trying on clothes, asking advice from your royal advisor, and hosting a grand ball. And one of the tasks that my sim was given was literally to go take a nap. So they can really range from super, super easy, simple to do, to much more difficult, like hosting a grand ball, which is hosting and attending and participating in an actual event. I would say the difficulty of these tasks do tend to be more on the easy to medium side. Like I said, like taking a nap, asking advice from your royal advisor. You can also, one of the tasks is trying on clothes or working on your skills or dueling someone with a sword skill. But like I said, these tasks do get really repetitive, especially if you're doing generational noble gameplay. So if you have multiple sims that are in the noble career, it's gonna feel really repetitive really quickly if you are starting them all from scratch. There is the opportunity for your sims. So say your sim king or queen, they pass away or they abdicate the throne, your sim can designate an heir for your career, basically. So your sim can then go and claim that career, which will put them exactly where they were. So there is a way to skip through a lot of this career if you don't want to have your sims start it from scratch if you're playing generational gameplay. But I will say after the first 2 or 3 levels of this career, it's pretty easy to get promoted, especially as you're gaining skill and everything, and you're also using the dynasty system and other stuff to get skill boosts, because honestly the hardest part of this is just getting your skills up. If you are the type of player that loves to have large households with lots of sims to take care of, this career is pretty perfect for you, because it can be pretty low maintenance, because again, it's very repetitive tasks that are usually rather simple and it's just a matter of doing them up, and you'll have plenty of time to focus on your other sims as well. But if you don't like having a large household and typically play with 1 to 3 sims, this might not be a career that you enjoy, because like I said, it's kind of repetitive and there's not a lot of things to do really within it that directly affect the career. So if your sim likes to live for their career and focus only on that, you might get a little bit bored of it. All that to say, I did really have fun. Like I said, I had a lot of fun playing through this career. I don't really anticipate playing with it very often, as it doesn't really mesh with my normal everyday gameplay style, and I'll probably only use it if I want to play with the royalty system and focus just on this pack pretty much. So moving on to the dynasty system. The dynasty system, I will say, is pretty cool. It, however, is very similar to the club system in Get Together, but I feel like it expands on that a little bit more, and it functions differently too, but I feel like it expands to that some. So your sims can create a dynasty for your sims family. You can give them different values with a value system and skills that increase the dynasty prestige up here, which unlock perks. I will say this system does closely resemble the club system from Get Together, but there are some pretty big differences, with one of the main ones being that you can have way more Sims in a dynasty. I think you could have unlimited Sims. Like right here, it looks like it's limited, but if this is full, you can still add more members. It's kind of unlimited in the amount of Sims you can have in this, which is like the biggest thing because clubs are limited to a specific amount. Within a dynasty, you have different roles. So you have the dynasty head, which at the beginning is the sim that first creates the dynasty. And then you have the dynasty heir, who will take over as the head of the dynasty after the head steps down, passes away. And then you have just standard members. But then you also can have outcasts. I don't know if you can have multiple outcasts. I haven't seen that yet, nor have I tried, but I think you can. But an outcast is basically if you have a sim that maybe does not get along with other people in the dynasty, or maybe they like to do things that are not in line with the dynasty, or maybe they have a scandal going on. You can basically make them an outcast, which is not removing them from the dynasty entirely, but it's basically telling you, the town, being like, hey, we don't associate with this sim. We don't associate with them, but they're still part of the family, so they have to be kept around. You can also have allies and rivalries with other dynasties, which I think is pretty fun. So this household right here, the Cap household, they have an alliance with the Alto dynasty, and they have a rivalry with the Monty dynasty, which I will say the Montys are relatives of the Cap dynasty. So if I go to add members, they are there because they are members of the family, but you know, they have their own dynasty and they are not getting along. They are rivals. But we can also view the other dynasty profiles. So you can see that the Alto household dynasty has like the connoisseur ideal, devious, and the passionate ideals, and the charisma skill, which is like encouraged to work on. As far as I have found so far, there's not a huge perk to making someone your enemy or your rival outside of storytelling purposes. Besides, you get an extra boost of points. So there is a perk point system with this. So if you declare a rival or an ally, you do get a bunch of points, and you'll also have an easier time building relationships with your allies and asking for their hand in marriage and doing friendly activities and building friendly relationships, or vice versa. With the rival dynasty, it'll be easier to build hatred and dislike with them and harder to build friendship with them. There's also this perk system that you can get perk points from, and you get perk points by leveling up your prestige. And these perks are somewhat similar to any other pack that has perks with something like this, specifically like the club system, but you can get different levels of perks. So we have, you know, grade boosting for your children's grades. We have nepotism, so that your Sims will gain performance boosts for their career. You can have tutor, so you can have a Sim come be a tutor. You can become a market manipulator because there is a new stock market system within this pack, or arrange promotion so that your Sim can arrange promotions for anyone in your household. And there's social ones like having an easier time with romance, having an easier time making alliances, having an easier time building friendships, discreet, where you can have an easier time not having your scandals leaked. And then you can also have an inheritable trait, which I think is really cool. So if you select these, your Sims will have an inheritable trait when you have children. So these are mental, social, physical, and creative, which are like the child skills that you can have. And these basically make it so that your Sims will gain these skills faster. But as your Sims have more generations, the trait increases. We have this one, so social affinity. So if the Sim has a child, they will have social affinity level 1, and then the level 1 Sim, if they have children, they'll have social affinity level 2, and so on till at least level 3. I don't know if it goes past level 3, but I think that is a really cool thing to have. That is not something we have right now. One thing that I do like is that you don't have to be royalty or in the noble career to start a dynasty. Like over here, I have the Goths, and they have their own dynasty. So you don't have to be within the noble career to have this dynasty. So any Sim household can have one of these, which I think will really add to legacy style gameplay. So if you are a big legacy player and like to have big, long family histories and lore and everything, this will go really great with it, especially if you pair it with the club system, because you can have a dynasty for your Sim and all of their siblings and cousins and aunts and uncles and offspring and all of that. But then you can maybe use a club to have a specific group of just your Sim's immediate family and have probably extra skill bonus gain from that as well. But this system will make it a lot easier to keep track of your families as well, especially the big extended families, especially if they play multiple households. So with the scandal system, your Sims can learn other Sim secrets, they can buy them, they can sell them, they can sort Sims for money or other things, and I think it's really fun. So you'll have these interactions to ask for secret about different Sims that your sim also knows. So I'm here, I have a sim, she's asking her daughter, and we have all of the different sims that they have in common that they know. So, you know, it's her other sister and a bunch of other sims. So you can go and ask for a secret on another sim, and sometimes they'll give you a secret, sometimes they won't. I found that the better the friendship you have that sim, the more likely they will give you a secret. But it's also possible that they just don't know anything. So this sim didn't know anything about that other sim. But you can also go online and go to the information broker, and you can buy secrets. You can sell secrets that you know. You can also expose secrets on social media. And if you have the programming skill, you can also hack for secrets to try to find secrets that way. There's also a new section in the notebook where you can see all the secrets that you know. So you can see your secrets. So this sim here has a secret lover and is involved in an affair. But I can also go in and see other sims' secrets. So we can see that this sim over here peed their pants. They peed their pants in public, and it's a minor scandal, but there are also ones like this one, which is a medium severity, and this one that's major. And if your sim does know a secret, you can go into the mean category and go to malicious, and you can either extort a sim, you can extort them to abdicate noble position or receive simoleons, and there's different ones based on different things that the sim has. So if they are head of a dynasty, you can extort them to step down as the head of the dynasty and other things like that, which I think is really fun. You can also, like I said, you can expose them on social media as well. But like I showed you, these secrets range in severity from minor, like peeing your pants in public, to major, like having a secret affair, secret lover, or even a secret child, which I think is really fun. And I'm really excited to see how this works with other packs. I currently only have base game and this pack installed, so I can't wait to see cross-pack compatibility and see what kind of scandals will come about with those other packs. And also, going along with scandals, there's a lot of different ways to create drama with this pack. Like I said, you can have a secret affair and a secret lover. So this sim right here, she has a secret lover who is Tybalt right here. She's a secret lover, so you can see that they are secret lovers. Or like over here in the Durong household, you can have a secret child as well, which does show up on your Sims family tree. So if you like having drama in your game, this can be a really great pack to add to that, especially the other packs, and because I'm really hoping that there will be good cross-pack compatibility with this. I think this is probably my favorite system in this new pack, the scandal system, as well as all the drama that you can create, and probably the one that I will be using the most because I think it just blends so easily into regular gameplay unlike the other features. Unfortunately, this pack does only come with one skill though, which is the swordsmanship skill. And I will say it's a pretty fun one. Swords fighting is a pretty cool skill to have, but there's only one, and I was kind of hoping for more because there's also not other traits. There's only one other aspiration, and there's some traits that you can unlock, but there's none that your sim can just have. But there is the sword fighting, the swordsmanship skill, and it is a pretty fun one. You can level it up through dueling other people, and you can duel for things once you get higher skills. So you can duel for fun, but you can also duel for noble rivalry, for simoleons, for a sim's heart, career promotion, and dynasty headship. I'm also really hoping there will be things added to that of things that you can duel for with other packs. I think that will be really some really fun cross-pack compatibility that I would love to see. Moving on to build, buy, and CAS. I will say I am going to be posting a full review of the build buy later this week, so make sure you stick around for that. But I think the build buy in this pack is pretty good, and it does come with a decent amount of stuff that we don't have. And I would say that I do think the build catalog specifically is very, very strong in this pack. Some of the things this comes with is a bunch of new terrain paint. I can't remember the last time we got a new terrain paint. I think it might have been cottage living. It's been that long. We also have landscaping that is not stuck in the debug menu. So this is actually in the outdoor plants category. You can see it right here. We have some great plants. We also have a brand new sectional couch for the first time since Dream Home Decorator, which has been out for so many years now at this point, but it has tons of different pieces. There's no chaise lounge, which is a little bit disappointing, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. But we have the new sectional, which I think is fantastic to see. And it does have some really nice swatches. And I will say throughout the entire pack, I do really enjoy the color palette. I think the color palette that they chose is really nice. There's a lot of more gem tones and like royal and like noble looking colors. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but like that's really kind of what it is. It also comes with a new kitchen set, which I think does feel very versatile with a lot of these different swatches. So I think that'll be a really nice addition to our collection of kitchen materials. As for the CAS, I'm gonna be honest, it's not my favorite. However, I don't do a lot of CAS, so I wouldn't necessarily take my opinion as law on this because I don't do a lot of CAS. This is my least used and also least favorite part of the game. So I'm not going to talk about this too much. My biggest issue with this though is that there's nothing new for infants. Not a single new thing, which is kind of crazy because they added this whole new life stage and are just not giving us stuff for that. But that's a whole other issue that I have with this game. But there's nothing for infants. Otherwise, it does come with some really great formal wear, which I think is really fun. We don't have a lot of great formal wear, especially in this range of formal. And as always, the men's categories seem to be lacking, but I digress. It's also really fun to have crowns. I think having crowns is such a fun little thing to have, so also excited about that. Now, this last category is what I think the biggest thing is for me, at least going into a new pack. How does this gameplay integrate into all styles of gameplay? For an example of this, so that you kind of understand what I'm talking about, Business and Hobbies, one of the other recent EPs, integrates incredibly well because you can use the small business system for pretty much anything your Sims can run. Coffee shops, gyms, crystal shops, farm stands, literally anything you can think of, your Sim can run a small business that can support your gameplay. Whereas with something like Snowy Escape, which is one of the older EPs, you can't really passively use this pack super well because pretty much every gameplay feature, at least the ones that I'm aware of, you have to either live in or visit Mount Komorebi often to access or participate in. And because of this, I probably would forget Snowy Escape exists, except for the fact that it has really good windows and build by. So that's kind of how I am gauging this. And this doesn't really determine whether the pack is good or not. This is really more of how much value this pack adds to the game and how much bang for your buck you're getting, in my opinion. So being really completely honest, I don't think I would use most of the game features in this pack if I wasn't actively choosing to play with a noble career. I will also most likely forget about dynasties and really only find them useful for legacy gameplay. And even within that, I'm currently doing Not So Berry and I have a club for my family and I forget that it's there so often. And also legacy gameplay is not my main style of gameplay, so I don't think I would probably use this all that often. However, the scandal system is going to be something that is really easy to integrate into gameplay because it's pretty automatic because your Sims can discover other scandals and develop their own scandals automatically without you really trying to do that. And you can do something with that, or you can also just not do anything with it. It's not something you have to participate in, but it is there and it's pretty automatic and it's fun to do and it can really add to some gameplay, especially if you are big into drama with your gameplay. So I'd say that this pack can contribute a bit to everyday non-noble gameplay, and I probably won't forget that this pack exists like I do with Snowy Escape. Overall, I really did enjoy playing this pack, and if you like the idea of playing with royalty or you lean more towards fantasy style gameplay, it's probably worth buying for you. But if you tend to stay more realistic and true to life gameplay, it's probably one you can skip unless you like the idea of the scandal system and secret lovers and children and the drama. But if that's the case, I would honestly say wait for it to go on sale because it'll go on sale in the next few months probably, and get it at a discount if that's only what you're buying it for. I also will say, I don't really want to encourage anyone to actually buy this pack or any packs because I don't want EA to be making more money right now because of this pending buyout. But like I said before, if you do plan on purchasing this or any other packs from the EA app, make sure you use a creator code. Like I said, mine is DizzyMissLizzy, or any other creator code from your favorite creator. It gives us a commission on your purchase. It's a 5% off discount until February 17th, and it takes away more money from EA, which is win-win-win all around. I would love to hear your thoughts so far on this pack based on what you've seen, and if it's something that you think you'll enjoy or something you might pass on. And make sure to subscribe because I will be posting a ton more videos over the next few weeks of early access content. Tomorrow I will be posting a full playthrough. Like I said, it's about 2 hours long, just under 2 hours long of pure gameplay for this pack. And I will also have overviews of build buy and some gameplay and speed builds, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell button so that you get notified when I post new videos. Also, if you want to see me play with this live on stream, I will be streaming this Monday, Tuesday, Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern and Thursdays at noon Eastern, pretty much all of the days between now and the release of this pack. So make sure to come over and hang out with us. We're going to be having a lot of fun with this pack, and it's a great way to see it live and see how it's actually running. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!